Great promise in singing can be a singer. God forbid, you will only be singing the answer to the tests. Practice singing the answer so that you will pass the test on the way to medical school. God forbid, singer call, singer ni weary teacher. No, shows great promise in acting. No, acting as an A student. You are acting as the perfect student you are. God forbid, you will not study acting. You will study law. Law, that's it. You will act as a lawyer. Start to pretend, Your Honor, my Lord. That's what you will practice as an actor. There you can do your acting as a lawyer. Yeah. Shows great promise as a dancer. Oh, no, Maje. You will dance across the graduation stage after you've collected PhD. That is the only dancing you will do. Dancing across. You will even dance because serious students don't dance. I cancel it. Oh, Janet Jackson. What's my business? Janet Jackson will kill Shomo to me. You will dance across the stage if you dance. Shows great promise as a writer should consider being a writer. God forbid, the only writing you will do is to write exams to be a doctor or an engineer. That is the only writing. Writing mathematical equations. Writer. God forbid.
Oh my God. So, parenting requires interpersonal skills and makes emotional demands. Now, according to San Truck, most parents learn parenting practices from their own parents. Some they accept and some they discard. The argument is when parenting methods are passed on from one generation to the next, both desirable and undesirable practices are perpetuated. And these practices may be cultural values which have been passed on from one parent to another. Culture, on the other hand, is a way of life of a group of people the behaviors, the symbols, values, beliefs, the people accept, not really thinking about them, and are passed by mostly communication and intimidation from one generation to another. Now, African parents are notorious for their perception of certain professions, regardless of the effect it will have on their kids. And with the innovation and evolution in today's world, we are asking if our African parents are more open-minded these days. Now, please, let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-4663. You can also tweet at us at WayShowAfrica1 with the hashtag WayShow. So today, that my child come and meet me, Mommy, I want to become a TikToker or a YouTuber.
Let the child have made money before they come and say that to you. You may change your mind.
But hey, so when I saw that video, it was so comical, but at the same time, it was such a strong message because the world has truly evolved, right? The world has grown beyond the normal 9 to 5. You can literally see people doing nothing and earning money. So I was in talks with someone yesterday, and she was telling me how she's trying to engage a young influencer, Gen Z influencers and all of that. She says, see, if she looks at this person, nothing with this person get, but because if the person touches anything,
it's like
it sells like wildfire. That they don't have any choice. They have to engage that person, to become,
encourage them
to become, their brand ambassador and all of that. So I am wondering, right? Do we still have parents that are still locked in that space of you must go to school, you must read, you must become a doctor, you must become a this? Even though I'm talking, I'm looking at myself.
Are you that parent?
That parent, because
so you have just answered your question.
Your own question.
My sister,
all the parents say I.
Can I be honest and shock you?
Yes.
In Nigeria, it used to be the norm that the minimum was a first degree. Then it got to a point where you had to even do a master's before your parents would release you to chase your dreams, right? I had a sister who died at the age of 26. God rest her soul. My most precious sister. She spent all her life chasing JAMB and chasing admission in the university. Meanwhile, the dream she had from the get-go was to be a caterer. And if only they had allowed her to do what she needed to do, she may not even have been in England, where she eventually caught pulmonary embolism and died, right? Based on that, I'm going to tell you guys one thing today. My son said to me, Mommy, I'm not going to go to university. Yes. Wow. As a parent and as a single parent, and I'm expecting my former in-laws to come here and start trying to give me their opinion. Anyway, based on the fact that I'm a single mother and what I was brought up with, it tore me apart. Because I was like, what would they say? Chimo, what would they say? I took a child, all of a sudden he doesn't want to go to university. My son is thriving at work. And the only reason why I allowed him to chase his dreams was because I can't get over the fact that they didn't let my sister chase hers. And what would her life have been?
That was a turning curve.
Yeah, for me, I keep telling God, may I be someone that helps them along the path you set them on. And not be a hindrance. And then with the likes of the Davidos and the Bonas and the Bankemeshidas and all the people that we've seen who have gotten their degrees, probably even gone to London or Lagos Business School.
Is a lawyer. He packed it in one corner.
When you see that they've gotten the degrees to satisfy you as a parent, and then they've chased the dreams, and the dreams is what has made them a global name, a force to be reckoned with. Like Beyonce sang a song, I Am Here. I want the world to also notice I was here. Whatever the destiny is that God set for me that will let the world notice I was here, which might be ways show. And it has nothing to do with the degree that I studied. It was after I turned 30 that I started having a dream in entertainment. And I had it when I was younger because I'd been acting since I was in kindergarten. But they wouldn't let me do theater arts.
Let me tell you. Let me now tell you. So when I was in secondary school, SS2, I
She had a band.
No, that one band is even different. That one we used to go church to church to go and minister. But there was I was in drama club in school.
Yeah.
So I just got into this new school, Chalawa, and they drafted me to be part of the drama. And I played a role as a mother. Do you know that drama that I played it so well that after the event,
the school wanted to give you
Kaduna State Television came and met me that they wanted to draft me into one of their soap operas. My mother said, "Oh Lord, my God." Say my pikin.
You act like you are in a soap opera, but you will not.
Said, never. You must go to school. You must go. And so years later, when I was now on your view in TVC, I now called my mother. I said, "Mom, no, you call everybody. Say, call my pikin television." I said, look at how irony. So she said,
when it comes full circle,
and you don't go school, you don't get degrees, okay. I think we are just all in that spot. But let me hear your thoughts now.
It's interesting. We said the topic, it's an evolution of profession, and there has been quite an evolution, I must say, because a lot of the parents back in the days were handed over something. What made you something or a force to reckon with back in the days was that you had become a doctor.
Yes.
You had become an
white
engineer.
collar job.
You had become white collar job. So that was what, when they come by said, like, I'm Igbo, they'll say, doctor, lawyer or engineer. So those were the things that gave some sense of significance to parenting at the time.
Bragging
rights, you would say. So and that was what they were taught. That going to school at the time, getting a degree was what made you significant in life. But over time too, the times have changed. The seasons have changed. Those things that used to be things of clout and recognition are not that they are not relevant in today's world, but other things have been added in the scheme of things. Unfortunately, a lot of them did not evolve, even though the world was evolving, right? So you still have a lot of parents struggling and saying, oh, you have to be doctor, you have to be a lawyer, you have to be engineer. They were actually doing the best they could with what they knew. But now, we now have people who are also beginning to be open-minded, right? The key thing now, it wasn't what it used to be as getting an education so that you can have a title. Education has also evolved. It's about learning skills and tools that can now help you to harness those talents and gifts from inside. So you now see people like a Fowles who had a background in law, becoming the successful artist that he and sometimes when you even hear him talk, you would see that this person has a lot of knowledge. He's not just acting for acting's sake or singing for singing's sake. There's a little bit of depth to what he's doing.
Absolutely.
And that's what education does.
So it's interesting that this conversation is, has evolved.
And you have evolved as a child and as a parent.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because, same conversations, if you had had it years ago, it would have been all of this, no, it's not going to happen. But you remember what happened with football? I'll say sports in general.
Yes.
So at some point, because I remember my uncle, my mom's younger brother, saying that he was so good till this day.
My husband would have been a footballer.
Yes,
I don't go buy shoe for my pikin, so easy money they come.
till this day, he used to play football. With every Sunday, he would go to a field to play football till this day. So they were those ones that they were so in love, they were passionate about the craft. But because they told them that, for what? God forbid, and all of that. But you see, when the likes of them, J.J. Okocha, Kanu Wankwo,
It changed the game.
David Beckham,
It became
all
a
of
game
those things,
changer.
all of a sudden, parents now started going to go and buy boots. Every Saturday, you see them carrying their children to the field. You must play football. You must play football.
I think at the end of the day, very quickly, every parent's dream is for their child to do well, and the tools they had then were
Absolutely.
they were going back.
Now, you see, the mindset concerning those sports.
Now football boots is making.
But let me hear Uti's
yes.
thoughts. Uti, what are we doing? Are we more open-minded?
Oh, we're still
You
looking
guys
for
have
engineer.
pretty much touched on everything. I think I would just generalize today's reality. A couple of things have changed. So when we talk about the qualifications, lawyer, doctor, engineer, all those titles, those title jobs, education was a big deal in our parents' generation because it was the guarantee of a better life. Outside of whatever culture. If you look at the Indians, it was the same thing. If you look at other races, it was the same thing. Education was seen as the solution, was the way to uplift yourself beyond poverty and guarantee yourself a good life. And these were the jobs, really. If you think about the scope of what was available back then, right? If you didn't have an education, you probably ended up in a factory job. You probably ended up in a menial job, right? There weren't options for you without an education. And an education, when we talk about education now, we're talking about university level. Lifted you up and elevated your status and ensured that you would have a certain type of lifestyle, which is what the push was. So the push was not about how much book you read. It was about your profitability and how much money you were going to make and how you were going to be able to provide for yourself and for your family. Now, when we shift that to the current generation, in our time, kids were seen and not heard. So you didn't really have a voice. Your parents said this is what you were doing, and you didn't even have the thought process to think that it could be different, right? I know families where all their kids are lawyers because their father was a lawyer. There was just no question to it. We are lawyers in this house and that's it, right?
Family of
So
lawyers.
it was as we started to come into maybe like the late 70s, 80s that people always used to ask kids those questions. Well, what do you want to be when you grow up, right? That started to filter into the conversation. And then as we moved on, kids these days are more precocious, they speak up, as the years have moved, things have evolved. So kids are developing a mind of their own, but as that is happening on the side of the child, in the world today, the scope of jobs. So when people talk about, oh, you don't want to be a singer, I mean, my own personal experience, I always wanted to be an engineer. I didn't say I didn't want to be an engineer. I wanted to be an engineer. I wanted to do it in a different route. I wanted to take a more hands-on vocational route than doing the traditional A-levels. My mother was like, how, why? They do A-levels. A-levels is how you get to university. There's no story. And guess what? If I had done that, I would have realized earlier on that, this engineering thing, right? Being good at maths, physics, and chemistry doesn't mean that you will love engineering. I found out when I was in university. So the idea was that if my mother couldn't even contemplate the thought of taking a different educational route, my own was that I didn't want to read. Come to talk of now saying you want to be a singer or a dancer. Now, just
you act like you are dancing. You will dance to your graduation.
So 9 years down the line, I'm having a conversation with my same mother and now my younger cousin. And my auntie is complaining about how my cousin says she wants to be a singer. And I'm sitting there, the conversation is happening beside me, and I'm not even paying attention.
I'm not speaking the same way she spoke.
It's okay. She wants to sing, it's okay. Who are you and what have you done with my mother? I didn't understand it. I was like, how is this transition?
Were me not here when you were saying?
The same thing that happened is now the expansion. So remember then, if you had the talent, some people had talents. You could play football, you could sing, but the opportunities were also limited. But now that we've moved into this global Today, if you want to be on TV, if you want to reach the world, you don't need to go and find a TV station and have a show. You just need to get the internet.
Absolutely.
So the options and the plethora of jobs that you can do today that are very, very profitable. Remember, we're talking about the root cause. The root cause is not read book. It's not education. The root cause is money. So there are a lot of things today that bring money, and then there are now a lot more people that you can see who have
been
extremely
successful
doing
it.
Without those qualifications. And we're not talking about, back in the day, you would have the person who was really good at selling and they would make money as a trader, but they didn't read book. They still didn't have the elevation and status of a doctor or a lawyer. But today, you find that there are people who, I can't remember this guy's name now. Is it Ninja? He plays video games.
Yes,
like he's a celebrity.
Just to test out video games.
Or the ones that don't pack boxes.
There's one that tests toys.
An affinity for playing games at this stage. You invite the game and say, learn it well. Learn. This is your own route, right? So every that Yoruba saying that says Onokon Waja, there are many roads into the market, right? We are living it right now.
Absolutely.
So if you any skill that you have, can you monetize it? If you can
Absolutely.
monetize
That's what matters.
I think that is the benchmark of
Can you monetize your
Let's
skills?
take a quick break, right? When we come, because I hear the phone line is buzzing, right? When we come back from the break, we'll take your calls and we'll continue the conversation. Stay with us. All right, so if you just tuned in, it's our ladies' night out, and we are discussing the topic, evolution of the profession, and we're asking our African parents more open-minded. Now, please, let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. You can also tweet at us at WaveShowAfrica1 with the hashtag WaveShow. Now, our phone line is now open. The number to call is 070-25007749. That's the number to call. Remember to turn off the volume of a television set so we can hear ourselves, right? So, there was something, Uti, very quickly that you mentioned, and I think that's where all those close-mindedness came from, because a lot of parents were they were
can you
afraid.
survive and be on your own? Can you be independent?
Was this a credible source of livelihood for you
To raise a family on?
Yes, to
family
sustain and all of that. So now they're seeing it that I can. There's this lady I follow on Instagram. I just love her. She just does anything like perfumes. She has like a plethora of perfumes and all of that. She would just go test, spray this one. The millions that lady is making in dollars, right?
Mixing oils.
That she's mixing oils, mixing all of these things. The millions she's making, testing out so if you just create a new skincare line, body butter, she'll test it out, she'll do all of those things. I say now, wow, person just sit down. If you see the mansion she's built, she's
solving a problem.
So that's my
Is it
point.
me that will have child that is 25-year-old now, that she will see influencer job that will be paying 1 million per post, and I will tell her that, Amao, you must to do masters. That one not concern me. All I want to do is travailler as a mother. If you can make money and it's legal.
So I think all of these things, right? That closed-mindedness that happened
Came from
it
fear.
stemmed from how sustainable. Yes,
there was a perception.
Like so there was. It has to be that people had seen that as a doctor, I can benchmark what salary now you earn.
Yes.
You are in the US now. I was online checking. Why did I tell my boys to during this holiday to take out time to study UX design? Your startup salary as a startup. Startup salary is $120,000 startup, as in you are just starting. But let me have our first caller for the evening. I think we have
the meaning of startup.
Captain Modi from Lagos, or Modu. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
Sister, how are you there?
We're good.
Beautiful sisters in Plus TV. Yes. I so enjoy your program there.
Thank you.
And I appreciate what you guys are doing there.
Thank you. You need to turn off the
Thank
volume of
you,
your television.
sister.
All
You
right.
know,
Go ahead. Okay. He's hearing himself. Please, when you call, remember to turn off the volume of your television set, because when you don't do that, there's a feedback and it affects the communication. But go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to quickly add that the perception that they had was that they saw creative jobs as well. You know, now there's a lot of creative in
Streams
the
of
creative
income.
space. Yes, creative
Normal.
streams of
As a
income.
There's a lot of money in
And
the creative
as a
space.
writer, you go suffer.
Interestingly,
No, you never know.
Interestingly, no.
There are places that you write that they will be
people-
waiting for your write-ups and pay you
There
£5,000
There
per
are people
page.
who are earning millions being ghostwriters. They don't even need their name.
May
to
we
get
find our target audience that will make the money chase
Okay,
us.
let me take Benga from Lagos.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Well, for me, the topic is very interesting. Of course, jobs and occupations are all evolving. But I think one other aspect of it is the fact that parents want to live their lives through their
Through
kids.
their children,
So
yeah.
sometimes you have certain parents that maybe they wanted to study certain courses, they couldn't. They want the children to go that same route. Just to see, okay, fine, if I couldn't do it, my child could do it. But now it's becoming clearer. It's not about just having formal education alone. It's about you having skills. And the profitability as well is working out like, what's her name? I love her whenever she speaks. Uti or something. It's not just about profitability alone. It's about fulfilling purpose. Life is about fulfilling purpose. And now my mother's purpose doesn't have to be my purpose. I want to live my life despite all my mother thinks. So I think that's why the playground is becoming more and more open, and parents are now getting to know better.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Thank
Good
you. Good night.
So I was trying to say that the careers, the parents, because of the perception that a lot of parents had from the past, they didn't see creative jobs as a career. It didn't look like there was any way
Money
it was
into it,
heading.
yeah.
You knew that if you went to school, you would get a degree and you earn a
And because creatives don't earn on a
so
monthly
yeah,
basis.
exactly. So you can't really trace their income. Their income can come in large sums. So it's not something you can really follow.
It's
Let's
structured.
just say
Yes,
income.
It's not
Fair.
structured.
Yeah,
It's not
income,
so
yeah.
it was not something that they were used to. Their perception is totally different. And then you talked about open-mindedness. So a lot of people are still struggling
Well, you
with
know,
the
but
past
you know, with
and the present
sorry,
experience.
Norma, with YouTube, the advent of YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and all of that, it has structured creatives, their earning power. Because now, my sister sent me something, one link, one new platform that, what's her name? Black China signed up to.
Say it with your chest.
I don't remember the
It's
platform.
only fans.
Hansi,
Only,
I don't
only
remember.
fans. Only fans.
But
The
I hear
website.
she is earning
$20 million
$20
a
million
month.
per month. So even with the creatives now, the advent of the social media platforms has put a structure. Now, on YouTube, if you get to a certain kind of following, you are
You're
guaranteed
going to be
a set sum
earning
of...
You
some
can
income.
monetize all your
Yes, you can
content.
monetize all
Yes.
of those
That's
things.
the education part,
Part, eh.
which a lot of parents need to begin to expose themselves to. When you have an understanding, you ask questions like, okay, your new experience, what's it going to be like? Try to find out what are the things so that you can have a better understanding. When
Yeah.
you're talking about a YouTuber, it's not a case of, because there are different aspects in YouTube. There are those who test
But it's still
new gadgets,
content
there are those who create
creation.
content. There are those who are the platforms on which
They are
some of
creating-
these
all of
content
them are all
advertise
content
or
creation.
create. So there are different aspects.
Levels.
I think
You
parents should
being
also
able to educate
understand that a
yourself on
lot
that
of
level.
times vocational schools back in the day used to be left for people that didn't make the cutoff. But nowadays, universities offer courses for everything you have been talented for from birth.
Let me come to Uti.
Uti will bring English.
Uti, are you back?
Queen's English.
I'm here.
Okay, go ahead.
I
Queen's
don't know, what
English.
would you like me to add to the conversation?
Ah.
You guys have
You can throw it back to me.
you dissected it completely. But I think that, yeah, the plethora of opportunities that are available today, just for people to, even when you talk about unconventional learning, right?
Yeah.
People are learning in so many different ways. People are finding, and I think that our understanding of what validation means now, what people class as success, has also changed. So I think that's what the caller was trying to say, that when your purpose also changes, right? It also changes what you go after. So people now can actively wake up today or tomorrow and say, oh, I don't want to go to university, or I don't. So the barest minimum now is that I'll go through the school of life.
Absolutely.
If I can read my ABCs and I can count 1 to 100, then I'm all right, right? Everything else I can learn in the school of life.
Absolutely. Let me
but
take.
I think that.
Sorry, Uti, give me a minute. Let me take. I think Captain Modi, I hear is back. Omoju. You're live.
Yes, sister. Good evening once again.
Thank you.
Good evening, sir.
I enjoy your program. I enjoy your program very well. Most of the time in the evening like this. Thank you for the program. It's an enlightening program.
Thank you.
I commend you all. You guys are doing wonderful there. Thank you.
Okay, thank
all
you.
right, good night.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Uti, go ahead.
So the idea now that people's viewpoint of how they view themselves has changed in terms of that status and that success. Nobody's ashamed anymore, to say I didn't go to university or I don't have a formal education. But when you come back to that question about parents being open-minded, when I think to the fact that what are parents seeing today that are the markers for the fact that there are different ways that it can be done. One, everybody's flowing with the times. Like if your son is Burna Boy, really, like which doctor or which engineer's mother is going to stand next to Burna Boy's mother and be like, no, my son is, it's like, what are we looking at? What are we measuring, right? Success comes in all shapes and sizes and forms these days. So it's not, if you even want to take it down to the negative side, Yahoo boys,
even Yahoo mothers.
Thank you.
Mothers, they had an association.
They have parents that are proud of them. So the reality of it is the mindset and the culture has changed. We've come away from that. Oh, do you know my son is a lawyer and he went to Harvard? Or do you know my son is a doctor or my daughter is a doctor? The world has shifted. Nobody's having those conversations anymore. Yes, the Ivy League schools still have their prestige, but it's no, somebody can be an international global DJ. Like DJ became a thing. Yeah. Right?
Even hairstylist.
Like DJ
The hairstylist that was going with
technician.
What's her name? Oprah. Uti, remember that hairstylist?
Yes.
That man that blew up.
Yeah. They all have them. Look at Kim Kardashian's makeup artist. He has his own makeup line and everything. Like there is just a path to success for every single person. Whether you now are able to activate it and find it, that now is the journey. So the journey has come away from getting the degree, the master's, the PhD. Those people are still there because we still live in a country that values paper. Let's not kid it. But a lot of people are actually now realizing that there are more options. Some people are placing their whole hopes and lives and everything in crypto and NFTs, and that's where they are going to learn. And some people are making their millions from there. So how you choose to go about it is now the door is wide open. And parents are just following along because now everybody's living according to their truth. So the days when you had to do what your parents said has moved on. So now
let me bring it back home, Uti.
Okay.
Let me bring it back home. You have Sholaye. Norma, you have 4. Ladi has already told us her own.
Yes.
Uti, let
Are
me
you
come to you.
open-minded?
Is Sholaye come and meet you tomorrow?
Are you open-minded?
Are you open?
So let me tell
Why
you,
are you
right?
hesitating?
My goal is actually to expose Shalaya to as many things as possible now, so that if God is smiling and looking at me, I will just find the one that the child is obsessed with, and let's just face it early.
That's right.
So the goal for me is I don't care what you do. I just care that you're the best at what you do.
Awesome.
So if you are going to be a dancer, be the best dancer, be the number one dancer in the world.
Yes.
If you are going to be a singer, sing like the angels. If you are going to be a DJ, mix like your life depended on it. I don't care what you do, as long as it can feed you and you're happy.
How about you, Norma? Let me hear Norma.
Are you open-minded?
I totally agree with Uti because I'm a product of being open-minded. Today I've done things that I didn't imagine in my wildest dreams that I was going to do. I became a missionary at some point in my life. I was a makeup artist. Well, I am a makeup artist. I'm a grooming expert now. I train people, I'm a trainer. These were not things I thought of when I was reading estate management.
But did they
right?
insist
So
on the
for
degree?
me, my parents at the time felt that I wanted to read architecture. Somehow I ended up reading estate management, which was still in the building circles. But
Now
for
you're
me,
building
my
faces.
now I'm structuring.
images.
I'm not just building faces. I'm structuring lives. That's a totally different package, right?
They don't give a name, what's it?
It's called structuring business, no be makeup and,
for my children, in fact, the other day, my last came and said, I want to be a painter. And I remembered the exact same words. My younger brother, my only brother, said it when he was 5. And today, my brother is a fashion designer, he's an illustrator, he's a design expert. He's so many things in one package. So I just smiled at myself because this is creativity already in the making. And for me, again, what is important is channeling it constructively, because at the end of the day, the child is able to discover themselves. It's no longer about myself. I have lived my own life. That child has been able to discover themselves and tap into the resources and use it constructively to change humanity. That's what it's all about. And when they discover themselves, naturally the money will come. So whatever it is, we will answer
Just
the
like what you said, be the
you know,
best
you be
outside.
them and sing like the angels
As
if
you
you
were
want
speaking,
to.
I couldn't help but just stare at your teeth.
Oh.
They're beautiful, man. Now let me make my
Thank
point.
you.
Isn't
That was
it
such an
amazing?
aside.
Isn't it amazing that we stand in the middle of 2 generations of the generation that was
Right.
rigid
Yes.
and we having to do it differently? By the same token, I want to relate it back to the story of the Queen having passed. Now that Charles is king, some things will change because the world keeps evolving and we're now under a global village. No, on a global stage, everything gets seen instantly. So you can't just think of how it affects you. It's how it affects the world. I create a human being. I'm a guardian and a vessel through which the human being came. But they don't belong to me. What can I do to impact their lives and make them a gift to the world?
So it's a mixture for me. Because I am blessed with kids that are both intellectually gifted and creatively gifted. So Jesus, I need your help. That's all I can
In this
say.
situation, if I may comment very quickly, in that situation, I mean, we also had classmates who were like science students and art students, for example. So they were good both ways.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, they find themselves. There's that thing that naturally comes to you, and it would be good for you as a parent to be hands-on to support them when they need
so that's the thing.
and to guide them through the process.
So that's what I just do. I try as much as possible to make
and
sure
continue to
that
expose them.
I give them exposure to so many
Leverage.
things. My
Just
children,
leverage
I
on
mean,
it.
Try every single thing
my
they say they
older
want.
sister asked my oldest son what he wanted for his birthday because he celebrated his birthday August 12th. He said he wanted a guitar. We've gotten bass guitar.
I saw it. I said, are you going to be a rock star now?
So
That's what I was asking.
He's practicing his and guess what? On his own, most of this musical instruments, he sits down
And just learn.
and learns on
Self-taught.
his own,
Yeah.
self-taught. So he plays the saxophone, he plays the piano. In school, he plays the, what do they call
The
that thing?
accord,
That one that those priests
The
used to,
accordion
yes,
or whatever.
whatever it is, that big piano.
Yeah.
What do they call it, Uti? Tell me the name. Oh.
organ.
The organ.
Yes, organ,
But there's another name that he used to call it, Sha. You know, so he plays that, he plays the saxophone, he plays all the musical instruments actually, and most of
Naturally
them, apart
gifted
from
for
the
it.
piano that I got a lesson teacher for, every other instrument he's learnt on his own.
So imagine
how
you
to-
now trying to hold him back from chasing whatever he could do in
be an
music
engineer.
without him telling you he's not doing anything else. And he could go to college for
Absolutely.
music.
Absolutely. So I mean,
Which
the
is
world.
the
Let's take
gift.
messages. The world has evolved,
Yes,
and
yes.
the reason we're having this conversation. So that lady did that skit as a comedy, but it's
There
a
were
big
lessons
message,
behind
right? It's a big message. The world has evolved beyond lawyer, doctor. There are some professions now. So my sister is currently in the US doing a particular course. Guess what? The lady that she stayed with as a medical doctor. The person that is doing this course that my sister is studying is earning 2 times her salary. So the lady was literally in shock because she's been practicing, she's been a
years.
doctor for years in the US. I said, and this person that is not
This
even.
thing that's-
So there are so many courses now. I mean, we have a friend that the son just graduated. His first salary, $8,000 per month. So there are so many things happening now.
Introducing to me, doctor. Because that's what the fear is for parents. Can they sustain a household?
You know, so the world has evolved. And again, because most of the time, most parents were really afraid because they wanted to be sure that the child would be okay.
And they won't have to be taking care of you
them.
even in your
So,
old age.
I mean, things have really changed, right? There are so many things happening now. People are actually making crazy income on things that are non-conventional. But let's take our comments quickly.
The greatest monarch the country has ever had. So many changes in the world during her reign, she adapted to them all with ease and could be counted on when her advice and wisdom was sought. Rest in peace. Great topic. You always at ways. God bless you, Bobby Kennedy Jalingo.
Thank you so much, Bobby Kennedy.
Nice keeping it strong.
Go ahead.
Right, this one is from Daniel Elo, our Ways regular fan, and he says, "Good evening, my dear beautiful sisters of What Are You Saying? #Ways. Evolution of profession. African parents more open-minded. In a nutshell, it is not what parents want for their children, but what the children want to study. Parents should allow their children to follow their dreams. Once there is pressure from parents, then they lose focus and it leads to frustration. My heart goes out to the royal family. May the soul of the Queen rest in perfect peace." Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you so much, Daniel.
Thank you, Daniel.
So, Uti, let me give you the last word. What would you say to parents out there? They are still closed-minded. You have 1 minute.
I don't know that there are any parent. Well, there will be actually, but for those that are closed-minded, get with the times. The world has changed. The world is a difficult enough place for you to be unhappy doing what you do. You spend more time at work probably than you spend anywhere else. So the world is just, there's enough going on in the world where you can, you should be looking for or seeking to find happiness in what you have to spend the majority of your time doing. So that energy and effort that you're thinking, planning how they'll be a doctor, a lawyer, a nurse, engineer, whatever it is, place that same energy in helping them find their true path. It'll be a lot more profitable and a lot more peaceful.
Absolutely. On that note, I was just going to say that, honestly, if I have my way, my profession is actually to just sit down and enjoy. Nothing, don't do nothing. Baby girl life. So in case you want to pay me to just sit down and do nothing,
that's my career.
That's my career.
Baby
life. All right, thank you so much, ladies. We had so much fun discussing this. Thank you, Uti, Nama, and Laide. All right, so before we go, do ensure you follow us on Instagram, on TikTok, everywhere, Twitter at PlusTvAfrica. You can interact with us further. Most importantly, follow all our engagements on social media, like, share, and invite your families and friends to watch and follow the conversation. Now, if you missed our quote for the day, here it is again. Let's raise children who won't have to recover from their childhood. I beg. Let them not live a life of regret. Be cool. We'll see you guys live at 8 p.m. tomorrow as we bring another great conversation to your screen. Enjoy.